Hello, and thank you for purchasing this simple and elegant Kotatsu table. In this video, I will show step by step how to assemble this table. You may need a few tools that are not included in the box. You may need a hammer to tap the legs into place. You may need a clamp to clamp the joints so that they are flush. Finally, the box includes 3 wooden blocks to assist in making sure that the wooden legs go down straight. Putting these aside, we now have the contents of the Kotatsu table. First, we have the Kotatsu heater cover. Next, these are the legs. And finally, these are the beams. First, move the Kotatsu heater cover and the legs out of the way and unwrap the beams. Now we will assemble the outer beams. First, we need to inspect one of the outer beams. Notice that one of the edges is rounded and the others are all square. Also notice that the dowel is opposite of the rounded edge. The rounded edge for each of the beams should face outward. Match each corner up as labeled from A to D. The corners are labeled on the top face. That's the same face that the dowels are on. You may apply wood glue in between the joints. This would cause the table to be more stable, but it will no longer be able to be disassembled. While not required, I use a clamp to seat the joints all the way. All the holes in the middle should be pointing upwards. Now I arrange the inner beams so that the notches on the ends are all on top. I match the inner beams up by their labels with each other, as well as with the outer beams. The inner to inner beam joints are labeled E through H. They attach to each other through the joints in the middle. Once all the labels are all matched up, I carefully squeeze them together. Now that the inner beams and outer beams have been assembled, it's time to put them together. I match them up and carefully squeeze them together. And the inner to outer beam joints are labeled I to P. I'm gonna fast forward through the rest of this step. Once the joints are all flush, I flip the beam assembly over in order to install the legs. I clear all the wrap in order to make room for the dowels to fit into the holes into the tabletop. The beams will have one corner with 2 dowels. This corner will fit into the tabletop with 2 holes. Identify this corner on both the beams and the tabletop and use it for reference. For the other 3 corners, 2 of the corners have only 1 dowel, and the last corner has nothing. Now unwrap the legs and match each leg to its corner by its label. Please note that for each leg, 3 of the edges have been rounded and only 1 edge is square. The square edge is also the one that is labeled and should be facing inward into the table. Since the beams are facing down, I need to flip the beams over in order to check the labels. Here you can see the corner that's labeled A. Now I find the leg that's labeled A. To attach the leg, I use the 3 wooden blocks. I line up the 2 wooden blocks that have a 90-degree label against the leg. I double check that this corner is indeed labeled A. I wiggle the leg so that the corners fit through the beams before lining up the 2 wooden blocks. Then I place the unmarked wooden block on top of the leg. This wooden block is what the hammer will hit in order to prevent the hammer from damaging the leg. I use small short taps to seat the leg into the beams. I periodically check the wooden blocks to make sure that the beam is going down straight. Be careful that you apply force straight down and not at any angle. Attach the other 3 legs in the same way. Be sure that the labels on the legs match up with the labels on the beams. Also make sure that the labels on the legs are in the inner facing corner. Take your time with this step. It's very important that these legs go in straight. But I have nothing left to say about this step, so I'm gonna fast forward. Now carefully flip the table around so it is standing upright. You may choose to do this in 2 steps, first the beams and legs, and then the tabletop itself. Now remove the tabletop. At this point, you can install a Kotatsu heater into the center. This is an optional step. I'll also include links to Kotatsu heaters that you can purchase off of Amazon. These Kotatsu heaters take standard 29cm by 29cm heaters. Now place the Kotatsu heater cover over the hole in the center. At this point, you may put a comforter over the Kotatsu table. A full-size comforter or larger will be sufficient. Finally, place the tabletop over the table. Make sure that the beams are lined up. And with that, you have assembled your own Kotatsu table. May it keep you warm during the winter.